Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Brace for Impact. We have a special scenario coming in here. My roommate
A
has joined
special
us.
scenario.
Yeah, I have a roommate, and she's joined me on the podcast. We went back and
Who's
forth.
that? I don't quite recognize.
I
Who
don't
the
know.
flip is
Names
that?
on the tip
Who
of
are
my
you?
tongue.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that TSM Angel
is
guy?
that?
Is that TSM Phoebe?
It is. It is Phoebe from TSM Shimmer. She's joining me
You're
from my house. Um, yeah, this.
actually like a green screen effect.
I want you to know, Parks, that you've made my year with this one.
Yeah.
Because Phoebe's my joint favorite CS player ever.
Perfect.
Like, this is very
Joint
emotional moment for
favorite.
me.
Who's
Can
the
we-
other
can
one?
we
yeah,
get,
'cause-
like a top like
A top three. Oh,
Well, just,
dude,
like,
I've got a couple of
who-
people.
Top people.
who am I?
Oh, you
joint
share.
with?
I absolutely adore Mads. Like you and Mads are like, I love you to
Base.
pieces. And
Base.
then there's a load of people joined second because there's loads of people. But like the two of you have a place in my heart, you know.
Yeah.
Base.
Well, yeah. So, for anybody who doesn't know, Phoebe plays for TSM Shimmer, so she needs to be playing in NA, and the visa situation is very unfluid. It's very not happening. So she has to play in Canada, and as a result, I said, "Hey, I have a room, smile," and so now
Does that
she's up here.
mean
Yeah.
she has to play with the Canada flag on Liquipedia and HLTV?
No.
I'm waiting for the secret to get out that I was born in the UK, and they like, you know how they list like dual nationalities?
Yeah.
Because right now I just
If you
have
put-
like Australian.
If you put UK as a sub-nationality, the journalists in the UK scene will write articles anytime that you do well.
So no,
That's
That's a
just
good
how it
idea.
goes.
That's a really good
So
idea.
never?
So never. Oh my god.
I won't be
UK
here when you
player
put
goes
yourself
out
down.
last at Impact.
Yeah. Shout out UKCS. All right. Well, it's
gonna
kind
say
of
march
it's kind of
on.
yeah. We're gonna march on here. It's one of those things we don't have her for the full hour. We're gonna try and speed through everything as a result.
I think it's cute. You think we're gonna do this in an hour, but continue.
We're gonna cut this into 40 minutes. Trust me. No, so I mean, we did and it especially helps that we did an episode last week, which means that we don't have as much to talk about. At the same time, there's a lot of results that came through, so we're gonna leave those to the end. I'm gonna be like cutting in and out of the frame, which is fine. It is very tight in this corner. I have an L desk, and it's not really doing the greatest.
I think the episode name should be something about how the fact that the cameras are really wonky because I'm sat so off center to try and like compensate for where my camera is.
The cameras were messed up, man. We spent quite a while trying to fix them. Speaking of fixing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Our first bit of news, we're gonna do some roster news first here. Vilga is staying on as the NIP IGL for their Impact squad for the Ninjas. I was surprised. I didn't think that there was a like trial period for her. Like she signed anything short term. I thought it was just, hey, we signed her for X amount of time. She's gonna be here for a while. No, they must have only signed her on a trial or something, and now
It
they
was
just.
I kind of
a
think that's
trial.
smart.
It was
though.
a trial.
I remember.
Okay.
I think that's kind of smart though to give them their credit because I think Nip's quite cautious as a nation, and I agree with that. I always thought it was going to be long term, even if there was a trial. I didn't think there was going to
Yeah.
be any world that they got really really good results as well under Vilga IGLing. So you know,
I think they had a really rough start.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I think they had some really bad results against like teams in EU that you would put in lower
Was it?
tiers. To word that as delicately as possible. They were like getting upset a bit and like
Yeah.
trade it, whatever that shit.
I
But
think it was
like
the
I think they're
third one,
improving
yeah.
pretty solidly.
Yeah, and I think it's good to see them improve as they have, especially with all the changes that they've gone over the seasons. Like they've always been kind of second fiddle to literally every other team when it comes to like getting into the playoff qualifications or anything like that. But they've always hung around.
They've always chirped in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's the
That's
Yeah,
that's the
they-
NIP
the
way.
thing.
they took third place at the previous trader Effie under Vilga.
Yeah.
They lost to Pigeons, who of course is
That's
now
fine,
Imperial.
yeah.
That's fine.
So I'll be honest with you, yeah. It was. I remember, yeah, it was really rough for like a couple of weeks, but actually they sort of like skyrocketed really quick.
Yeah.
Like, the learning curve was steep and it was quick, but they did, as Phoebe said, I think it did start off a little bit not amazingly.
Well, moving on then to other roster news in EU. Yeah, there's not really anything else we can go with any on that one. Astralis, we mentioned how they basically cut the majority of their roster last week. Well, they had a quick turnaround. Basically, the next day they came back and said, "Hey, we did a thing," and they have added in Nia, Pollux, and Kit Kat. I only recognize Kit Kat
Kit Kat's
from she played
for a
on
while,
Guild,
right?
I think. Yeah.
She's like, yeah. I don't
Pollux,
know.
I remember casting a bunch of times, and I'm really excited about that as my move. That's my top of the three, I think.
Yeah. So it's an interesting team to look at. I think as well they've broken away from being full Danish as a result. I believe Kit Kat is Norwegian, I want to say. So that's they're having to kind of dip outside of the pool to try and bring more competitiveness back onto the squad. Excuse me. Correct me if I'm wrong. They'll have to requalify for next season. Yeah. So,
well, they were going to have to requalify anyway because unfortunately, Astralis Women's did. I don't want to say awfully in the online season, but there's a reason that they made the roster changes that they did. So
for sure.
even if they had replaced the whole of the core, because when you replace the core, technically it's not considered the same team anymore, if I remember correctly. But they also were just eliminated point blank, I believe, because they were
I think
two of their group.
I think it was more of like because they got eliminated, they made the changes
Kit Kat
versus.
is Danish. So
Kit Kat
it's
is Danish.
Kit Kat is Danish.
And a Norwegian and a Swede.
Okay, there you go. This is
Astralis
where I get my
really likes
research from,
keeping
by
it
the
in
way.
the
It's
country.
actually Phoebe like telling me a bunch of stuff in my ear and just going like, "Here's all the information, nerd." That's how I get all my info. I come home from work and Phebe's like, "Hey, did you hear about this?" And I'm like, "Oh no, it's already
Did you
happened."
see that this tier 3 team just blew up?
Yeah,
Crazy.
it's great. That's how I keep going. We'll get there. We're gonna get there. Last one in EU. This one actually happened earlier today, which is crazy. It happened only a few hours ago. FiZe Angels, so FiZe Esports, who had just popped in. They played a few tournaments, including Tradeit Masters, which we're gonna get to. They have packed it up already, so the squad is free agent team again. I don't remember how the squad came to be. They were they're like one of those EU teams that kind of just were around, and they put up a few results, and I guess Five just kind of popped in and said, "Hey," and they were on the team for a little bit, and now they're off the team. I don't know if they'll stick together.
They are looking for a new team.
They were looking for a new org?
Well, no, as in the org is looking for a new Impact team.
Yeah. I wonder what happens to the roster, though. Because it's like, I didn't recognize any of these players before this happened, and then they're just kind of gone. So I wonder if just, like, they played a little bit, decided, actually, this isn't going to work, and then now they're gone. I have no idea.
If I'm going to be brutally honest here, I don't see them sticking together because you see it a lot with the women's teams that aren't as much in the public eye and they don't get the great results is that they end up dispersing, but they never did anything big enough or great enough to be noticed, to be picked up by the bigger teams and orgs. So unfortunately, a lot of these will just fizzle out. Maybe they get together, they play as a mix, they play on orged or whatever. But for the most part, I don't think we'll see many of these players in the limelight for a while.
Do you have the
At
Elite
least.
Clan announcement, or was that last episode?
I think that was last episode.
We did
Elite
speak
Clan?
about Elite Clan because we had two teams with clan in their name. Was it two or three
I
teams
remember
with clan
that.
in their name?
Yeah, we had a few, and they were
we
all
talked.
in EU.
We talked. Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Elite Clan, they picked up their team.
Or
was it Elite Clan?
Violet?
Yeah, they picked up Violet.
And then they promptly did not pick up Violet.
Wait.
Was it?
No,
them?
that was the other team. That was another team. That was was that Eyes that picked up a team and then immediately picked a player?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
So
I
yeah,
know.
Elite Clan picked up Violet, and then Ice Clan picked up a roster, and then immediately
They dropped the
17
British
hours or
player.
something later, dropped the British player, which
Fair
big
play.
up the UK scene. If there's something that sums it up, that is it.
Fair play. Okay. Well, that's all the news coming in from EU. We can move on to NA now, and I guess a big part for you. The first. What do you mean?
Yeah,
that look. So Lotus have hit a snag, and maybe ripped away. I don't know how to say this any nicer. Basically, Mira, Aaron, and Celia are gone. And yeah, it was. They made an official announcement about Mira and Aaron dropping out, and then it was Celia, Accessor, and Fox. And then a few days later, Celia announced that she was also going to be stepping away. And now she's going back up to Advanced to play with her friends.
Yeah, I think Mira had IRL stuff, so she left, and then Aaron left with her, and then Celia just I guess didn't want to play because the roster that they could get would probably be weaker than the one with Mira. So, but I think
It's a shame.
Yeah,
it's a shame. It's really funny because Celia she was on an advanced team last season, and then she dropped down to IM to play with Limitless, Lotus, whatever, and then now she's left them after their whole roster blew up to go back to Advanced again and never actually played Impact League or anything, which was her original goal and stuff, which is funny. I understand why she did it, because trying to replace Mira and there's just not a lot of people around right now, so it's pretty hard, but
yeah, it was a struggle for them to get a 5.
To me. Yeah.
It's a struggle for them to get a 5, and then as soon as they got the 5,
Yeah.
things kind of happened, and they went away. So we'll see what happens with Fox and Accessor. They were joking that they would play 2v5, which
they were begging Abby to play on Twitter as well, which I know Abby won't do. So.
Yeah, Abby is taking the season off as far as I'm aware, so I don't think she actually wants to come back, but you know, that happens. I know there's a few other teams kind of kicking around with majority are set rosters, so they're kind of struggling right now as well with
set rosters.
I don't know. There's it was
Nouns Karma, obviously. There's Aware Impact, who are lower tier. I guess there's the X Wanted.
Yeah, the X Wanted Goons are a set roster.
There's Midnight Fox.
Midnight Fox as well. They have it's Ari's project team, I think. I'm not sure if
there's
they actually
Ari's
have a set.
project team, but all they have right now is Ari Child's Zazu, and Zazu's off in Japan.
Yeah, that's true.
So pretty hard. I think Lotus and Ari's team are both doing tryouts anyway, but the talent pool is spread very thin right now, I think.
A lot of cleanup crew are not coming back for the season. I know Paula mentioned at the start of last season, of season 5, that was going to be her last one. That was her last hurrah. I haven't heard anything from Shelby.
What about the Coven lot? What about the Coven lot? Because they had quite a rough online season, but they did still technically qualify to get there. I don't know what they're doing. Again.
I think it might have blown up.
It might have blown up.
I think we might see players from the team coming back.
Maybe.
So maybe they have a look. But I don't think that as a core, it wasn't working.
As far as
respectfully,
I can tell,
it was not working.
As far as I can tell, them as a squad have kind of been together for a long time. It's not one of those teams that they've had players kind of come in and out to hang out. It's more of a friend group that made it. I could see players from Echo coming back in and potentially doing something. I know CY was kind of jumping around and doing stuff. Echo, yeah. They're old. They're season 1, season 2.
Echo?
Phoebe doesn't know them. Phoebe doesn't know them. Maybe the Frenchies come back as well. I know they Little Box kind of bandied around coming in last season, but
they lost pretty bad last season.
Yeah.
I do think I could see them trying to play again, because some of them are playing for Canada and IESF and whatever, but I don't know what's gonna happen with that. The core of Fox and Access will have to re-qualify.
Yes, they will. So there should be 5 qualifiers. There'll be 4, and my guess is that Nouns will take the other qualifier spot.
That's should logically get the next spot.
Yeah, that's my understanding, because it would be either Nouns or it would be Goblins. They're calling themselves now. Which are
Goblins.
Yeah, the Wanted Goons Bandits.
I like that a lot more, actually.
Goblins, yeah.
I like that.
Actually, while I'm thinking about it, Sarah Fox from I didn't put this down in a note, but I know it because
Sarah is coaching Reef's team.
Yeah,
Midnight
she's coaching Midnight
Shout
Fox.
Out
Sarah Fox.
Sarah's probably one of probably the best player that I've personally played with in Ursh. She's I'd say she's better than me. She's been playing the game for ages, and she's really good. So I do feel sad in a way that she can't actually play Impact, because I know she would be better than the far majority of the league, but she's coaching Reef's team instead, and hopefully she can help them improve, kinda. make them more competitive, help them get into Impact type thing.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm fingers crossed.
I learned about that because Midnight Fox of an LCA are doing broadcasting through LCA, so they were wondering of how to get Sarah into a server at one point, and we all was just like,
That's because
it's broken.
coaching bug in
Yeah.
ESCA,
Yeah, coaching is borked again as always.
Yep.
And then the final bit of news, the mainline one, TSM Shimmer have a new fifth.
Yuli,
Do they?
Yeah.
formerly Evil Geniuses Team USA player Yuli.
Formerly CLG Red
That
Bull
is.
That was before my time.
Yeah.
That's a really exciting roster move though. Like
It's
I
good,
I
yeah.
know that we talked about it last week, Parks, because last week you knew.
Oh, of course I knew. I
You
always
knew, and I had a vague idea because you do this thing where you're not allowed to tell me, but legally you can drop hints
Yeah.
that would never hold up in a court of law, you know.
Yeah.
So you dropped hints, and they played their match. What was it like? It must have been around the time that the episode dropped the next day.
Yeah. No, it was literally the next
so-
day they had a match, and
Yeah,
I think that's when they announced it.
Yeah.
And so we
no,
said that we talk about it this week. But...
She was actually announced like the day after we played our first ECA game.
Yeah, that's right. She was
I remember
announced on the
seeing that,
Wednesday.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good move. And as much as I love Abby and I miss Abby, I think this is definitely going to make the team stronger. Phoebe can fully correct me if I am wrong there. I am not the subject matter expert on this one.
Wait, are you saying that I'd argue that Yuli won't make us stronger?
No. I'm saying that I think she will, but
Oh.
but if you think differently, I can stand corrected because
No,
I
no.
am
That's
not the
troll.
subject
Why are
expert.
you- why are you trolling?
I think Yuli's a really good pickup because I think with our previous roster the problem is that like we didn't have enough vocal people. Not to go into like too much detail, like we just need someone like more vocal, and I think Yuli is definitely that kind of player.
You're
And
quite
yeah.
a quiet roster, is what I noticed. Like Mads is really, really loud. Like I remember
Mads-
seeing you guys at loud. Mads is loud, and then the rest of you it's really quiet, and it's like
Yeah.
unsettling quiet sometimes because it's like
I was yelling at Lance
like
so
a hive
much, but like
I
just in
know, it
terms
was
of,
awesome.
Like, in terms of mid rounding, I guess like Mads like used to do it like a ton, but like since she became full IGL, obviously she's still mid rounds, but like she can't be the only one. So like just having someone else that can like suggest things, like say things, is like really good. I don't know if it matters, but for the record, I'm taking Abby's roles and Yuli's playing like second star roles kind of thing. I don't think it like I don't know if that like specific tidbit like changes your opinion on it like at all really. But
no,
like, yeah.
I don't think so. It was just because like there's as much as I can say because I've seen a lot of these stuff, but it's always like I can say it and we can always from an outsider perspective say it, but you know there may have been things like I don't know how Yuli works within the team dynamic because you guys have known each other for a while, and I know that Abby has played with some of the roster for a long time, and whether synergy comes into it and how much it comes into it. So I was like, I think Yuli's an upgrade on the firepower department, but I don't know how it works and how much that contributes to. But like, yeah, Yuli's an incredible player, and I was so happy to see her come onto the team. Like,
Oh, this is shoved.
Yeah, don't.
In my humble opinion, I think that definitely is the thing about having chemistry because we were like teammates, like everyone. It was a core for such a long time, but I think because Abby got moved into different roles, that kind of like it applied a lot less, in my opinion, in Abby playing new roles, especially like when you're playing anchor roles and like hard lurk roles. It's definitely hard to have that kind of like chemistry kind of show a lot. Like I don't know. It's like I might be kind of off with this one, but I think like when you're in the roles Abby was, it's a lot harder to like shine and like just show your like chemistry with your teammates basically.
Yeah.
Like than like when you're playing star roles like Con on Mirage and like you're calling to fight mid and stuff like that.
It's they call it, and pardon my French there, they call it the bitch rolls for a reason
Yeah.
sometimes. But no,
They
I'm super excited to see that, and I think yeah.
No, I was just gonna say something silly. There's like a Sanji tweet, the like former VP player, and he calls himself a quality bottom fragger. I like that.
I love
like
that. I love that.
That's good.
I think also from like a different perspective on as well, I think TSM will be quite happy with Yuli coming in as well from a PR perspective, because I know that the team is quite you could correct me if I'm wrong, feels quite camera shy at times. Like Mads loves being in front of the camera.
Yeah.
But then, for instance, at Impact, you were, and I said to Parks, that you were the one that also did the interviews because they wanted like
Yeah.
2 from each team, and that you were stepping up a bit more into that. But that it felt like something that needed a little bit of a push, and it wasn't like immediately like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll do it. Like I didn't want to, and I think that Yuli is someone who will want to engage in the content a lot more voluntarily. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's
and
funny.
I think from that side of things.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt
No, go,
you,
go.
but it's funny because at Impact they were just like Mads and Phoebe. That was no like, oh, who wants to go? It was just like you two. You two are doing the
Yeah.
interviews.
It's your turn.
Okay.
You
I kind of
been picked.
waffled. I didn't look back at like what I said, but I just remember saying I'd beat FlyQuest, and then like we got like owned in group stage, but then FlyQuest also got owned in group stage, so it's like
Yeah. It was an interesting LAN.
It was a fun
But-
time. It was great.
It was a fun time. Parks and I had a great time. I couldn't drink because I wasn't old enough, so that wasn't a fun time.
Hey,
Next
we
time
made
I
it
come
work.
over, I will be though.
We
Next
made
time
it
I
work.
come over though, Parks, drinks
See,
are on me because I
this
can
is what
buy
I'm-
them.
This is what I'm saying is we need a LAN in Toronto. We need a LAN in Canada. So then all the
What we
dreaming,
need.
buddy.
yeah, I know.
I think you just need to come to an epic LAN. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
You're not wrong, but also those flights are expensive and far.
Swim.
Swim.
Just fucking swim.
Can you get me in?
It's
Instead of
just
dual
water,
national?
Parks. A little water never hurt anyone, Parks.
Yeah, a little water, just half an ocean or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know. For what it's worth, I know I've been watching her. I've been watching her games kind of in the background because while she's playing, it's like I'll have it on.
He's
the
been
second
watching
monitor.
you, Phoebe. He's been watching you. Did you hear that?
And I mean, it's worked out pretty well so far. I think in terms of how the scorelines have gone. I know the first match back, you were fragging. It was great.
I'm always
Yeah.
bragging. I've been second in both how you see games. I will say that like so far, there's like very little sample size to go off of, but we've been more successful in plugging it out in ECA because we've just started pracking again than we would have been before. And I don't know if that's purely because of Yuli or just because everyone kind of got like a decent break and they kind of are now allowed to come back in with like a very fresh mental, and it's like allowing people to just have more ideas and speak more freely than like they felt they could before or some shit like that. But like so far so good. I don't know. This Cash Cup will be interesting. I don't know if FlyQuest are playing it, but it'll be a good like litmus test for all the kind of roster changes.
It's the one coming up this weekend, right? The 27th to 28th.
Yeah.
So that's for the teams trying to qualify. That's basically their last check-in with all the other women's teams. And then because the qualifier, we're going to get to that. The qualifier comes up the 24th, 25th, which actually I guess we could slide into right now.
Yeah, that's a beautiful segue.
That's a beautiful segue. Great job. You're doing it.
Phoebe's gonna replace you now, Parks. It's gonna be me and Phoebe.
She could run both. Honestly, if you guys want to talk, I'll just sit here and do production the entire time. I don't mind. That's fine with me. So yeah, the qualifier. We're only gonna talk about the first qualifier because by the time we get to the next episode, second qualifier will be upcoming. So we don't want to overshoot on that one just yet.
Click the thing.
Click this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're just gonna quickly pop in and look at EU for a sec here. So far, 11 teams registered. Names that kind of pop up real quick. Eyes Clan, EKS Violet are in there.
K10 Ashes. Woo!
K10 Ashes are in there.
They're hate, but I think Ensathena, Yayo, and Crescent are probably my top picks out of those.
Yeah.
EK Violet probably.
Permitter Permitter might do okay.
They are
Because
pretty good.
Permitter's been...
I liked Permitta,
been
but
putting
they
in the
dropped my
reps
friend,
recently.
so I can't support them anymore. They still have Tinker
Ah.
though, and she's cool.
That's how
I
you that's how you
spoke-
measure.
I spoke to their CEO at a networking event a couple of weeks back, and he's a really chill guy, so...
Did you tell him to make some moves?
Who's on
No, I
Waves?
did't. I
Which
literally just said I
Waves,
think
the
it's
one
really
you
cool
just
that you're
clicked on.
investing.
Oh, okay.
I don't know any of those
Yeah, I
people.
have no idea who's on Waves.
But Crescent
yeah.
and Yi are like those two, like what you were talking about before, where it's like Russian players that'll
Yeah.
farm.
Russian
Yeah.
players, Russian teams coming in. Yeah. So I mean, Russian teams have always kind of been in a lot. Like they throw numbers because they're just down. They just play. Excuse me. They just play. I mean, I think of all the what are they called? Not the tropical cups, but the one betting fast cups. I think.
Yeah.
The fast cups. Those are like 90% Russian teams.
Who's
and
on
then-
Ensathina? Do they have roster moves?
Ensathina is currently
I don't know.
Milo, Waldy, Zia, Emson, Ida, and somebody called
Okay,
Sebi
no,
coaching.
it's like the same, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty much the same. I don't think they actually.
Yeah.
have
I
moves
think
over
they
the season.
should be on paper favorites. A
They-
team that
they should
should
make it
play
back.
this but isn't like listed is
On-
the Dreamcatchers team.
Yeah,
So on paper they look really good, but then they've also been struggling a lot recently as well. Like they had, I'm trying to be nice about it, but all things considered, they had an abysmal showing at the Tradeit FE. Again, I don't know what their bracket looked like. If they ran into like Team France and Spirit and Nip Impact and everyone on the way,
they ran
that's a
into
different
Yayo.
matter. But they ran into
They
who?
ran into Yayo.
Oh,
They had to
Yayo
buy.
did
They
quite
had to buy
well.
round. They had to buy round one, and they ran into Yayo, and Yayo then immediately went and lost to NIP. So,
What's the score?
13.
We need to
Against
we're getting
NIP.
distracted.
We are.
Should we look at the qualifiers and then move on to Tradeit? Because
Yes, we will. We got limited time. to
sorry,
do that,
ADHD is going brrr, so
So I mean,
Qualifiers.
so looking at this as of right now, if Dreamcatchers don't join in, I would say I would lean in towards Ensathina and Yayo if Yayo's in here.
Mm.
Actually, no. I'm flipping on Ensathina now. I think Crescent Yair.
Crescent Yayo.
Yeah.
Okay. Crescent's
It's
Neo,
XVP.
Margot. That's XVP.
I'm
Okay.
pretty. It's like the majority of them.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
That makes sense. Yayo has always been kind of around, so I fully endorse a Yayo run. On the outside chance we would get Jody in with Team Violet, that'd be pretty cool. But I'm not.
Team.
I'm not
I was about to say I think Team Violet are a sleeper pick.
yeah.
Like they did really. They only like in recent they lost to like Team France in Tradeit, but they took it to almost overtime. They took it to double digits every single match. So
Yeah.
they're strong.
That was a while last year. Well, not last year. This year, where like
Team
in
Violet
the
would be
Cash
really good.
Cups, Violet were like farming like
Yeah.
decent
Mm.
teams, but the last time I looked, they weren't doing as hot. But
I think they've
that's
had.
definitely
I'm
like,
holding out.
Yeah, I think they've had player movement recent, so that's why they've like
Okay.
potential. I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Right, should we move on to NA?
Yes, we should. 5 teams so far, which is actually pretty interesting. I didn't
Here's a
expect that.
flip is playing in NA.
Midnight
Who's
Fox,
Shock Factor?
Aware, Team Karma, Police,
Oh, that's
that's
Shock
that's
Factor,
a
Gnomes,
sleeper
Equity.
team.
that's a sleeper team right there. Shock Factor is
Who's-
Chels,
who's on
Kineta,
theirs?
Napka, Swan, and Shelby. So
They
I mentioned
don't
we didn't know
qualify,
what
I think.
Shelby. I think that's a good roster coming through. Who else?
I
was there?
think they'll.
Gnomes?
Oh, Gnomes is ex.
Gnomes?
Gnomes is ex.
I thought they were goblins.
Maybe they changed their
Liar.
name. Oh, yeah.
No, okay, wait. So this team should play, and
They should
then
play.
Lotus rebuild, and then Ari rebuild.
Mm.
So like,
Who's? I don't know who Karma Police is.
it's
at the
no
moment.
one. It's
Yeah,
it's
okay.
like there's like bots that like
Yeah.
join.
Okay, so as of right now, it looks like it's Midnight Fox, Aware, Shock Factor, Gnomes, Equity Gaming.
Yeah.
I would put Shock Factor and Gnomes. I think of those, or maybe Aware. Aware's played you guys close.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Aware is like they're not bad, but I feel like they. How should I put it? I think like in this kind of format, I think Gnomes and Shock Factor should at face value like easily like top this, but
Yeah.
realistically, when like because I know like you're doing it in like as of right now, but Lotus will play it, and Ari's probably gonna play it.
Yeah.
It'll be Lotus and Shock Factor. It'll be Lotus, Shock Factor, or Gnomes, I think, getting through. And then in the second qual, like Aware and Gnomes, or like Aware and Ari's team, or like Gnomes Ari's team. But I think like Aware are probably the dark horse. I think that's fair.
All right. Well, we have 12 days to wait and see what happens with this one. Yeah, I do agree that Shock Factor and Gnomes are probably going to be the first two to go through, or Ari's team.
Let me look at the Shock Factor roster again.
Yeah. Shells, Kianetta, Nopka, Swan, and Shelby. So they've got a lot of experience on that roster.
I think Nopka's good. I don't know how Shelby played last time she was on Ari's
She
team.
played pretty good, I think.
Yeah.
I think she had a really good season. And I know like she plays a lot still, so it's not like a retired
Swan
roster.
Or Chels.
They're both good. I mean, they played on Cherry Bombs, so Cherry Bombs were decent when they.
Cherry Bombs was the first ever team I casted for ESL Impact.
You don't have to look at me like that.
Well, like, didn't they go like 0-8?
No, they won a match against Hyperion.
Oh.
So.
That could well have been the first game I ever casted for ESL Impact.
That's wild.
Funny story is my co-caster, my duo, wasn't my duo after that match.
If something
called them cherry. He called them the cherry blossoms the entire time and was not sober. But that's a little fun fact.
That's a great
If you want to
story.
go back and do your research, you can find out who it was.
I think I saw something from him the other day as well about.
He's still a caster. He's just not a caster for ESL.
Yeah, I saw something the other day about predatory casting. I was like, that's very interesting.
I'm not gonna know anything about South America.
That's fine.
That's because there's only 3 teams as well.
Those 2, officially.
2 officially, yeah.
Sundogs.
Also, just a quick time check because I know that Phoebe has to Spanish or Spanish.
We got a few minutes here. We'll finish this off and then we'll let her run away. So we get Fems Farts, which I don't know any of these players. This is a Benny kind of thing. This would be a Benny question.
Who's on Tropa de Pataco?
Tropa de Pataco.
So you say this? It would be a Benny thing if Benny wasn't dead.
Arcania, Kulzina, Flix. That's a good roster actually. Tropa de Pataco. Looks to be a sleeper roster.
You know what we skipped before when we were talking about EU?
Yeah.
HSG.
Are they officially?
I mean, they talked about it.
We've got to be careful with what we say.
We don't
here.
know. We don't know anything for certain on the HSG front. Unless you want to leak something.
Publicly, so
I know they said publicly.
You know what?
We can talk about this
here's a tiny.
I
was gonna say here's a tiny leak. It's because I don't know what it has been made public on Twitter yet.
Yeah.
Because I think it's been hinted at on Twitter. I don't think anything's been explicitly said. But having spoken to people at Dallas who will remain anonymous for my sake just as much as theirs, they said that they were at least looking at it as an option. Because with no wild card, there's no way that they'd miss out because they were farming. They did so well. They've got no competition in their region because there's no wild card slot. But they were doing so well and going toe-to-toe with all of the top EU teams as well. So there's no reason for them not to. It's just going to be a bloody pain for Ping, you know? Unless they fully just move the roster.
Well, I
don't see them doing though.
I don't know. They've got money. My guess is
they didn't want to do it as a leaking thing, but like they've hinted at it pretty heavily on Twitter. Like they
that's what I'm thinking.
Well,
they're keeping Xiao Wu.
It's Xiao Wu.
GFI Olga.
Yeah, those.
And
are
then
the
they're
3.
like, oh, we're looking for 2.
But they'll probably pick up 2 EU players and then like move to EU.
I've heard some rumors about who they're looking at.
Well,
and there's a possibility they look outside of EU, but again, that's not. They'll likely look within EU for the players, but I think there's a couple of people on their radar that aren't EU.
Well, where we sit right now. Well, where we sit right now is we're 12 days away from the first qualifier, and they need to sign up at some point because they're not just going to get invited into the thing. They have to make it. So we'll get to keep an eye on kind of where we sit with EU, and
I would be really sad if I don't see them in that qualifier.
That would be very sad.
I think they're going to sign up as close to the closing time as possible.
That's probably
because I think they want it to be a super hype reveal if they do it.
Yeah.
But again, it's a big if because I was speaking to some of the players and they were like, it's very much being talked about. But that was like months ago now.
Yeah,
That was
it's been a
so.
while, and we
And
saw
it's,
the
it's
announcement.
been
They had the
hinted so
announcement.
heavily, but like no one said anything definitive. But we still have what, like a week, and then there's still a second qualifier. But I think they won't want to like chance it all on one qualifier. I think they'll want to enter both.
I really
think
wouldn't
we'll
be surprised if like HSG just like announced at the last minute, like
Mm.
surprise. We're going
Surprise!
to
Go
here.
check out our street. Yeah, I think that'd be quite. And I genuinely would be sad if we don't see, because like GFI, for instance, absolutely wonderful. And I think her leading the team, she deserves the chance to play. I
Yeah.
put it in my tweet, and I was really worried because it was really on the line, and I was worried I'd get in trouble for it. I literally put like, it's not GG until it's GG for all. And like that includes everyone from all regions.
I mean, the
And
sentiment
they're
has been
incredible.
that for
I
us
love
for a
them. They're
long time.
amazing.
Yeah, the sentiment has been that way for us for a long time. I mean, we've wanted Australia to come back and have a spot. We've wanted
That
South
ain't fucking
Africa.
happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
The
And
thing is that like shits me about that is that like I know that you could make a team with like Ursh talent with people who are in Ursh right now, and it'd be like a top half NA Impact team. Like,
Yeah. It's just one of those
Mm.
things of like because of the depth of NA and because of the depth of Australia and because of the depth of South Africa, like you could bring a few of those teams over here and have a pretty good competitive league. But right now, it just kind of the drop off happens after like team number 5, where team 6, 7, and 8
Yeah.
are kind of they're fighting in their own little fight, but they're nowhere near a FlyQuest. They're nowhere near a Shimmer. I mean, like that's
to like go further, I think that the like league is very like NA. It's
Yeah.
very like top 2, middle 3, 4, bottom 2, 3.
yeah.
Like, and it was like that season 4 and season 5, and like
Mm.
I know season 4 it was like very close up until the end, but
Yeah.
season 5 like the
There
gap
was
just
nothing.
got like bigger. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's kind of BM of me to say that, but like
I mean, it is what it is. You kind of look at the results and you go, well,
yeah, like
the fight the entire time was, I guess, they
the game
trolled.
went to
they,
the last game, but
yeah,
like
they trolled because they had you and FlyQuest play week 1. If you
no,
guys,
but that's like
Yeah.
so deliberate. Like it's so obvious because they want to make it so like it's us versus Limitless for
Yeah,
the
for the
second
last spot.
in the last week.
It's well, technically there was a world, and they drilled this into us massively backstage. They were like, there is genuinely a world where the Shimmer don't make it, and we were like, yeah, but then we looked at it and we were like, oh shit, no, actually, because the way that like tiebreakers worked is really funky.
Benny and I
We
looked at the
had-
tiebreakers, and it was came to the exact opposite conclusion.
We had
actually.
every tiebreaker. Basically, like the only way we didn't make it is if we lost 0-2 and Team
Karma
Karma lost
0-2.
0-2 to clean up crew.
Yeah, it was like I
Which
was
is,
driving. I was driving to the airport, I think, or I was driving somewhere to pick up somebody.
You were
And-
driving, and I remember saying because they won, and I said, I made a comment. I was like, Parks is driving. Like, please don't swerve and hit someone or
I
something.
remember
I like
that.
actively said, like, in your
Yeah,
excitement,
it was funny.
please stay safe on the road.
Yeah, it was funny.
And
Alright.
we
Um,
asked in the ESL like channel, and they
Yeah.
were like, "Yeah, the only
There's like
don't
nothing.
take this as 100%, but as
Yeah.
far as we can tell, the only way you don't make it is a specific scenario." So we were like celebrating after the first game.
Yeah. Well, you won the first
Yeah.
map, and it's like, okay, you won.
Yeah,
It was-
yeah.
it was over.
It was like, oh,
Yeah.
we made land. Like
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
It was the only one of the decider games I didn't do, and I'm really sad because I was like, I really want to do more NA, and they put me on loads of it. And then I was mad because I didn't get to do the FlyQuest Shimmer game, and I might actually put in a note this time if I end up like getting signed back on to do another Impact season. I might be like, please, 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 let me have the FlyQuest Shimmer game. I promise. Like, put me in apples on it. I'm telling you, put me in apples on it. It is gonna be the best game of the season. Like,
It should be the
but
last
yeah.
game of the season, foaling the same logic as
Yeah,
last
it'll-
season. And
I
if
think this
it's
time
not,
around.
I'm gonna be pretty mad
That'll be interesting.
because they did it the same way in Brazil.
do you want me to have an ask? I don't have much influential power at all. But I can like, just whack. I can whack a message in and just be like, "Hi, I know it's not entirely my place, but I think it'd be pretty cool because they do take. They're really quite good at
Yeah.
taking like creative advice from
They
us.
did it in
But the
Brazil.
schedule is something that we don't. That we
Yeah.
usually just get told the schedule because everything is usually planned out like at the start
Yeah.
of the season. They know the match. But I might do it if I do it now and just be like, "Hi, just a little bit of a." I think it'd be really cool, and whether they listen or not is another matter. But
I think
I
they
agree
will.
with you because they wanted to start on a high. But I
Yeah.
think there might have been better matches that we could have started with to leave something for the end. But maybe it was that they had doubts that you guys were going to do as well as you did, and that there would be a fight for second place.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I don't know.
We'll see.
Silly.
Yeah.
Because I'd love to see it. Like from a casting perspective, I'd love to see that be like the end. That's like all of the other regions. It was so hype. Like South America's.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
was
South America
insane.
is like why I think it should be the same in NA, and if it isn't, then I'm pretty like. It would feel very fair if like Flux or Fury is the very last game of the season in Brazil when they have one spot, so it leaves it till then. And then like
Yeah.
if they didn't do the same in NA, I think it'd be kind of fucked, but whatever.
Yeah. I agree.
All
I
good.
agree.
I'm gonna leave now. I have.
I was gonna
screaming.
say,
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Go
for
enjoy
popping
your
on.
scrim. Good luck.
Goodbye.
Take your chair with you.
Have
and-
fun. Oh
yeah,
yeah, I
thank
need
you.
my chat. Goodbye. Peace.
Peace.
This
She
is
just
this
shuffles
is her-
off screen. I
she's-
love it so much.
She's opened the door
Um,
and everything. Bye, Phoebe.
But no, that I think
Yeah,
that's
dinner later.
genuinely like because there's always the feedback forms that go out for ESL Impact, and they're like, so what did you like about the season? What can we improve? They do it for all of that.
Yeah.
I might because I'll say this now. I genuinely have absolutely zero creative power, but it might be one of those things that I just be like, hi, you can completely write this off if you want, but
This feels
I
weird.
think
being
it'd be
back in the spot. Sorry, I'm like trying to.
You're
I'm
okay.
trying to align myself here. I'm like, this is wild.
So yeah, should we move on to? I think we've only got more things to say to FE Masters.
We've got some results to go over. Did we talk about Femme Fury, or maybe it was in the final stages when we were?
I thought we had talked about Fem
We
Fury.
talked about the group stage, July 14th. Well, maybe they hadn't done the grand finals yet.
Oh yeah, it might
14th.
not have been the grand final.
No, they did actually. They did. 'Cause
No,
we
they
talked
did,
about
yeah.
that. Okay, so we've talked about Femme Fury, so I don't need to worry about that. Yeah, so there's two tournaments that happened in this last week. One in the
Yes.
EU and one in Brazil. We talked about the Brazilian one, so let's go there first because we can kind of wrap up that one a little bit more. So the groups played out, and kind of as we expected, Fluxo Demons, Atrix, MIBR all went through, as did Furia, of course. The four teams that we don't really know too much about is Illusion, Insanity Female, which no, that doesn't look too familiar. Akatsuki and Shrikas. Lots of familiar names on that Shrika side. They all have HLTV or not Wikipedia profiles.
Shriekers. Yeah, I was gonna say. They play a lot in the Cash Cups as well.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to. Yeah, I remember them because I see them in the Cash Cups a lot, and they do quite well actually. When the Cash Cups do run, because of course it's again something we talked about.
For sure.
And a lot of these players are played on like some of the big teams as well. Like Fly played for a while on MIBR. This is also something we talked about before we started recording. Is that it's a little bit of a tumbleweed in the region of like talent.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of teams like they'll play a bit on MIBR, and then Fury will notice them and pick them up, and then Fury will be like, we don't want to play with you anymore. And then Flux will pick them up, and sometimes it's like a honestly like a cycle.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because there's always so much storyline and there's always like personal stakes in the matches. It's also so difficult to keep on top of. Like,
Yeah. There's
like,
never
didn't you
never
play?
a chance.
Did you play on MIBR? And they were like, yeah, like 2 seasons ago. But now I play on. But I also, I love it, but it's also it melts my mind.
Well, we can actually go through the results then as a result,
Sure.
as where we sit. Interesting first quarterfinal match was Fluxo Demons going up against Atrix, which I wish they kind of led. That's rough for Atrix. And it honestly it kind of showed. They went 13-3, 13-8 for Fluxo. They took the 2-0. MIBR beat Illusion 2-0. Shrika's beat Akutsuki 2-0 as well. 2-1 on that one. And Furia beat Insanity FE 2-0 as well. That left the semifinal matchup of Fluxo versus MIBR. And that one was an interesting one. It went full 3 maps. MIBR took the maps, took Dust 2 13-5. They lost Vertigo 13-8 to Fluxo. And then won Inferno in overtime 16-14. So, yeah, I mean, cool to see. I mean, they were the ones who made the recent change as well.
Yeah.
With bringing in, I want to say they brought in Gabby. What's who they brought in? I might be wrong here. Hold on. Let me. Yeah, they brought in Gabby. They brought in Gabby onto the lineup. They parted ways with Rock
She
and
was on
Furzy.
Furia, yeah.
Yeah. So that might be paying off already, kind of thing. Then come into. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna comment at the end there. Sorry, it's just about who I was sad got so screwed by the bracket because Atrix, because they got a difficult. It would have been a difficult run for them anyway because even if they'd beaten Fluxo straight up against MIBR, but Sophia XYZ, it has my whole. She's so young, and I remember interviewing her during the season, and honestly, such a sweetheart, so much talent as well. So Atrix has a place in my heart, and they had a difficult run, even if they won the first series. But yeah, sorry, continue.
No, for sure. Then the other semifinal match was Shrika's against Furia. That was a 2-0 for Furia. Nothing too much to write home about. That left MIBR versus Furia in the grand final. Furia took it 2-0. And it was a close map too, but otherwise
map
Furia
was.
Yeah, it was not that great. Third place matchup then was Fluxo versus Shrika's, and this one kind of went the way we expected it to, with Fluxo going 2-0. It's interesting to see that as of this tournament, Fluxo are the third place team out of the top 4. But I think
I like
there's
how
also
competitive
change.
it is.
Yeah, it's always been very competitive, and you mentioned them recycling players and everything. I'm okay with that, mostly because we're getting top tier matches every single time with the players that are getting recycled. It feels like more of a, we're changing it up a little bit to try and stay competitive against the other teams. So we're going to bring in a player that they recently had that didn't really work for them, and it's going to work for us. And then all the other teams go, oh, well, this player that you dropped, maybe that'll work for us as well. And it kind of cycles. And players like Danny, who comes in from those lower 8 teams and is very good, they shoot up, and all of a sudden now you have to drop one of the players out, and they might not stick. And so it's one of those things of like their cycle is a lot more competitive than it is in NA.
Yeah.
At least for the top teams. We've kind of hit that with NA, but a lot of the rosters for North America are actually relatively set if you really think about it. Like FlyQuest Red are a set team. TSM just had a change, but Abby is taking time off. She's not going to be coming back. And the 2 teams that she would have had a chance to play on, and because Lotus is dead, is Karma, or Lotus isn't dead, but they're trialing players, so they're not a set team anymore. Karma, who have had one change and don't look to be making any other big changes unless somebody leaves, and Nouns, who they went through all their changes last season. They've got a set group now. I don't see them making any moves unless, again, somebody steps away. Shimmer were really the only team that were looking to make changes after the finals, and they made their change. So that's kind of where that sits. So yeah, congratulations to Furia for taking the W on that. Excited to see more of Liga Feminina, especially because the top 4 teams qualified for the Super Edition. So that being Furia, MIBR, Fluxo, and Shrika's. So Atrix, Illusion, Akatsuki, and Sanity all have to look in to try and getting into the next one, whenever that happens. I don't know when the second edition will happen to get to Super Edition, but we'll see. It'll be interesting regardless.
On that note as well, is something I really like about Liga Feminina is their talent lineup as well. Is they've got some amazing women's doing the analyst desk, doing the casting and hosting.
Yeah.
And I love that, and I would love to see them maybe hop on for some Impact as well, because they brought Apples on for NA.
Yeah.
Maybe having like Nessie come on. She's Brazilian.
Nessie, I have fully endorsed Nessie coming on. I've tried to get her on NA games, and she just has always been too busy. So
I'd love to see her come in, and they've got it's one of my gripes with some of the other tournaments. We've talked about this. Is one of my big gripes is when female tournaments, women's tournaments, do not bring on women's talent.
Yeah.
Or as I've said, when they bring on just players.
Yeah.
Like there's some incredible talent coming out of the casting scene. The only thing is sometimes I have to be careful is we always talk about it with South America is there is a lot less English speaking. So you need to make sure that your talent is, because all of the top tournaments are only in English. Like in Europe as well, Tradeit FE is all English, despite the fact that English is not the first language for 99% of these players or the people watching. It's just because that's the language of the organization it's being run in.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Nessie come on for an Impact, even if it was just a guest appearance. Like we had Apples come on for NA, and that was incredible.
Yeah.
I'd love to see someone come on for South America as well.
Hey,
So that was just a side thing of mine. I get really excited when we get
maybe I can join NA. Hey.
Parks casts.
Parks casts. No, it's.
Unfortunately, when I said I had little creative freedom, that is so far out of my creative
I know, right?
bracket.
No, listen.
I'm hoping they bring me back. If anyone at ESL watches this,
we're hoping
I genuinely
Affinity
love
comes
Impact.
back at this point. That's where we're sitting.
I love. And on a side note on that one actually, is Hedwig, the producer for ESL Impact, is the biggest sweetheart. She's lovely, and I will shout her out because we're talking about the women's scene, and Hedwig is amazing, and we don't talk about production anywhere near as much as we should, because there are so many talented women behind the scenes. And yeah, so shout out to Hedwig on that one.
That's the little aside we'll have on talent for now, as we sit here.
I'm gonna do that more often. I think is when we talk.
Shout out people, yeah. For
if
sure.
if I see women like starting to emerge from the scene on the casting front, just adding a little caveat, like,
hey,
grassroots women of the day.
Yeah. Okay, final tournament to talk about. Yeah, the final thing on the docket here. Tradeit Masters number 4. A lot of teams coming in. I want to say there's 20. They have 23. I don't know why the weird number.
This was an interesting one because I work very closely with Tradeit. The reason that I wasn't I don't cast this one. They had B-Dog and Lucy cast. The reason that I wasn't hosting this one is because I love the guy to pieces. The guy that organizes this is an idiot that doesn't know how to use a calendar, and booked Tradeit FE at the same time as a LAN that I was working, a LAN that his company has sponsored in the past and might do so again in the future. IQ 3000 there. Jokes aside, I love the guy that I work with, Tradeit. I know they're very controversial in the public eye. The guy that runs the social media is not the guy that does Tradeit FE, by the way. Those two are completely separate, just to set the record straight. But yeah, it's because they had, for the other 3 events, it was, I think it was invite only. This event, they had a qualifiers for it as well.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I don't know.
It's good to see it's big.
Yeah, the Wikipedia announces everybody is an invited squad, so I don't know what happened with that. Sorry, Phoebe.
I think it's.
I'm gonna put that on the podcast. I think it's hash browns, just a bunch of hash browns and like in a big big pot. It's looking pretty good. I saw it earlier when I went for
Let me have a look.
So I'll run down the teams.
To all the confidential trade.
I'll run through the teams real quick then. So Big Akipa comes in. We talked a little bit. Crescent and Sathina. Team France this time with Hakomi instead of Kaude, because I believe Kaude is now back in country to play with FlyQuest for their season. NIP are in here, of course. Team Spirit are here. Elite Clan Violet. 5 Bytes, who I don't really know, aka Hero Athena, which is a mainly Romanian roster. We've got AAB Female, which is a 7 Lizards on this squad, so that's an interesting one. Dreamcatcher's in, of course, Elizabeth and Fatal. Elite, which is another full French team. I don't recognize any of the names. Eyes Female, which is Makiri, Nyla, and a few other Czechia and Slovakian players. It looks like Slovenian, and Serbian, actually. Sorry. So in Celio Female, K10 Ashes, Loof, which is... Who is that? Is that Moldova? Look at that. Moldova, Belarus, Estonia, and Russia. That's a nice one. A team called Need a Chance, full Russian squad. Don't know anything about them. One Day. Taddy's on that squad. Feis were in this one. We mentioned them being let go from the organization. They played this tournament. Permita were here as well. Yayo, Yumi, which has ID, who notably enough stood in for Team Shimmer in Valencia, and Waves, which is another team with the Moldovan on it. So a lot of Moldova pride coming in here for the teams.
Yeah.
And notably, there's 23 teams. So, because Imperial were supposed to play as a high seed, but they didn't, because I'm guessing majority of the roster is probably still on vacation in Brazil, because they went to Brazil for Imperial stuff and were not back in time, is my guess.
Yeah. I think so. Maybe. I'm not 100% sure.
I have no idea. They're listed as a former participant as a high seed. So I don't know.
If you don't know, I won't know.
Yeah. Well, it would have been. Yeah, something would have changed with Waves, Loof, Dreamcatchers, and Elite. Anyways.
I've got to have a word with Tradeit. They've removed all my event crew roles.
Uh-oh.
Bastards.
This is how we find
I
out.
can't see all the confidential stuff. No.
Okay. Well.
Should be fine.
Yeah. Pushing forward
Just
then.
gonna like.
Pushing forward then. We'll leave the majority of the results here because we're just kind of coming up on time. We'll go from the quarterfinals. So, in the quarterfinal matchup number 1, it was Biggie Keepa going up against Dreamcatchers. Dreamcatchers surprisingly taking the 2-1 on that. It went to triple overtime on Dust 2 for Dreamcatchers to take that. So, I mean, you look at it.
No, I don't think so. That's just double OT.
Yes, you're right.
Because
yeah.
It got close though. It got close.
It got very close. Yes. So notable. It's always notable whenever you get a squad with Elizabeth and Fatal, notable players from Nine Pandas Fearless who have done their dues. They're playing well. Spirit female will going up against One Day. They won that one. It was a little bit closer than I would expect. 13-10 on both maps, but it was still a 2-0 on that side. Team France coming in, taking the win over Elite Clan Violet. It took them double OT on Ancient, but again, they still played pretty well, which is nice to see from, I'd say a national squad. It's majority French because Kaude is gone now. I think that's the squad. That squad minus Kaude is the team that will be representing them at IESF, so they're still just playing reps, getting that in. And of course, a lot of that squad played for Letter Cook, which is no longer a team. So, hey, maybe Team France plays ESL Impact as well, just for kicks, just for fun. And probably qualifies and makes the LAN, of course, because they would, and then gets to the grand finals. And French victory in Sweden, as everybody would predict. French victory
in Sweden.
Yeah, as everyone would predict. And then the final quarterfinal coming through is NIP going up against Yayo, 13-6, 13-5. NIP take that one.
I like that it was a best of 5 final. We don't see best of 5s. When we switched to RO12, I figured we'd see more best of 5s, but we don't. But it's nice to see a best of 5 final, especially for an event like this.
Yeah.
Because, we don't even see best of 5 at, ESL Impact anywhere in ESL Impact. So it's nice to see because I think a little bit more Counter-Strike to watch. I enjoy it.
I think,
but
I think one of those
the fact that it was a 3-0 is the fact that Dreamcatcher stomped so hard.
Yeah.
I think should worry teams that if they do enter the open qualifiers,
there's a big team.
I see them completely shaking up the EU scene.
Well, and we jumped the gun a little bit there going to grand finals. Dreamcatchers did beat Team Spirit. No, it's all good. They beat them 2-0 in the semifinals. The same story for Team France beating NIP 2-0 as well. And yeah, like you said, it was a 3-0 for Dreamcatchers, 13-11, 13-6, 13-2. So they didn't even get to Ancient and Nuke. One thing I will say, you mentioned the RO12, you expect more BO5s. I think RO12 coming back actually just kind of saved game time because even best of 3s were looking long in RO16 or RO 15 rather.
Hear me out.
Yeah.
Can you imagine RO15 with the amount of tech issues we have with CS2?
Yeah,
Can you imagine how long games we got? Because I know we're all getting used to CS2 and there's no going back now and it's better, but no one's still happy with it, but there seems to be so many more tech issues. And imagine if we had this number of tech issues with RO16 where games were going 14, 16 anyway.
Yeah.
And you have 3 tech pauses and someone crashes twice. And I can't picture. And maybe they had the foresight. Maybe Valve was like, yeah, we know this game is going to be absolutely dog shit from a technical standpoint.
So we're just going to make it easier.
We know that even on LAN, we're going to have people disconnecting.
Yeah.
Right? So we're just going to save you all the time. Matches are going to take the same length, but there's less Counter-Strike now. It's what's it called? Now that bags of crisps or chips or whatever you want to call them are getting smaller and filled with more air, but that's the same price. The price has gone up. That is exactly what Counter-Strike's done, and I'm mad about it. Sorry, I got very heated very quickly.
No, it's fine. Just a quick thing here, by the way. I'm looking at Ivona's, who played for Fize Angels. That team has gone in separate ways. So that's probably why Fize don't have the roster anymore, because nobody was staying around. That's the final update I've got in terms of stuff. Affinity.
Yep.
You're back from LANs. What are you
Yeah.
watching these next 2 weeks?
Okay, so what am I watching these next 2 weeks? So, first of all, I'm going to be re-watching the Dark Room VOD from LAN,
Yeah.
which is it's this amazing guy that comes around. So you know old style text based games where
Yeah.
you'd have like 4 options and you choose. It's that mixed with like like a comedy sketch that's very audience engaged, mixed with pantomime, mixed with like it's so cool. And I'm gonna go rewatch the one that happened at LAN, and I've got to go VOD review all of my stuff from LAN anyway. And then other than that, I don't actually know what I'm going to be watching yet. I'm willing to take suggestions.
I know what I'm going to
Yeah.
be watching.
Oh, I know
I'm
I am
gonna
going to be watching actually. On a side note,
What are you watching?
all of the because I'll be honest with you, my life is being consumed by Landis, will be consumed by all of the content coming out afterwards.
Right.
All of like the highlight reels, all of the meme videos, and everything coming out post Land, because there's already been live streams, people talking about the drama that happened.
Oh, there was
Like
drama.
the shit that broke the toilet.
Oh, that
There
sounds
are
a lot like
photos on
frag.
Twitter. It's great.
Have you ever? No, did you hear about somebody took a dump in one of the urinals? Yeah, frag.
Yeah, I've heard about this one.
That one. That's your. You're a few years behind us in terms of the who took a dump in the wrong spot or destroyed a
no.
toilet.
This was a dump in the toilet, but the dump was so big they closed off the entire block of toilets. It was bad. Somebody lost a 1v1 to a pine cone. They threw a pine cone. They like sprained their ankle and had to fill out an instant form.
Oh my god.
One of the casters dropped their underwear out in public when they were walking back from the venue showers to the sleeping room, and then had to run off and cast. So it was just a pair of underwear on the floor. There's roster drama, like because some teams didn't do so well, and they have had their entire org drop them, and they only found out because there was a leak on somebody else's post-LAN review Twitch stream. That is
Wow.
how the roster found
That
out that they
is
were being
wild.
dropped. So I'm gonna be watching the world burn because I love the UK scene and I want it to do well, but also I love drama. So that's that.
Yeah.
But that's me for the week. What are you gonna be watching, Pop?
I'll be watching some teams. I'll be casting some TSM Shimmer games. I last week I was watching them on the side, and Mads reached out and messaged me. He was like, "Hey, you want to cast our games again?" Of course, why not? That's my fun time.
Send her my way.
I mean, if you want to, we'll talk. You and I can. We'll talk. We'll talk later. Don't worry. And then yeah, I mean, like, so there's that, and then honestly, there's not really much else. I'm paying attention. IESF actually, sorry, I forgot about this. IESF, the North American qualifiers are next week. They start on the 29th. So I'm paying close attention. They've got Team Canada is finalizing their roster like tonight. They're figuring it all out right now, getting it all set. So that's happening as I've been sitting here with Phoebe and with you. Just kind of keeping an eye on that. I'm gonna put some input in a little bit later because so yes, Counter-Strike. I know it. I know these people. So
Counter-Strike.
I've got to start pulling my weight here a little bit. Other than that, I mean, I'm just chilling. I've got a cast later tonight that I got to get ready for in a little bit here. So we're gonna do a little tear down, tear up, get everything ready to go. Other than that, I mean, that's the episode. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. There's a lot that's gonna happen. A lot's gonna hit. We've kind of we took the sleepy period. We said, you know, we're gonna take an extra week, and we'll have 2 episodes in a row. Now finally, because we're back on schedule, we'll have 2 weeks time.
I'm a proud tummy ache survivor now.
Yeah,
so
you survived the tummy ache. You didn't get one from Epic Land yet.
Hits.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't hit it yet. So
LAN fever is gonna hit me like tonight. I feel like I'm gonna wake up tomorrow dead.
Yeah.
I'm already tired, and if this is one of the precursor symptoms, I'm gonna cry.
I'm glad we got it in when we did, at least. So
exactly, get it in before I get ill.
Yeah.
Parks is like, I don't give a fuck if you get ill after. You can die now, as long as you're revived by 2 weeks time. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But no. I'm happy to be back. Happy to
relatively healthy.
Share the floor with you. Absolutely ecstatic I got to share the floor with Phoebe though.
Yeah, she's already in practice, so I'm gonna have to, like I said, there's food already waiting in the fridge. I'll have to, you know, heat it up and everything.
So you do cook?
I don't cook. I heat. I reheat.
You heat. Okay.
I reheat
okay.
My
the
shout
fact
out,
that you
shout
have
out,
lived
by
as
the
long
way,
as you have.
Final way. No, this is again kind of against my will. Shout out to my grandmother. She takes absolutely wonderful care of us. I have asked her, like, hey, I will make a meal a week. Like, I can take that off your hands. And she looked at me and she went, the kitchen is my happy place. I will keep my happy place. And I said, okay, fine. Like, that works for me.
That's
if
fair.
you're going to make great food, I have not had any complaints with whatever my grandmother has thrown at us. So
What if she turns around one day and goes, this is my happy place, but I'm going to stop making you food? Then you're just screwed.
well, then I make food.
Yeah, but you can't go into a happy place.
Well, we'll figure that out when we get there. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here. We're just over that hour mark, so I wanna get us moseying. Thank you very much, Affinity, for hopping in again. Thank you everybody for
Thank
watching.
you for having me.
Thank you specifically to Phoebe, who is gonna watch this back because she watches every episode. Shout out to you. I know I've had great conversations with her as a result. It's been honestly, without a doubt, it has been awesome to have somebody else in the house who talks
Just getting
Counter-Strike,
lonely.
who understands what I do and understands what I talk about, and like I can just freely go like, yeah, we have plenty of conversations where we're just kind of chilling.
You were going psychotic just speaking to yourself, weren't you?
Yeah, I really was. It's been nice having another person in the house that understands what I'm talking about and gets it. So anyways, that's going to be the episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks time with episode 49. We're getting very close to the 2-year anniversary of episodes coming out. That is going to be insane.
Can we plan it so that the episode 69 is the 2-year anniversary?
That's not how that works. I'm so sorry.
I thought it was worth a shot.
That's
anyway,
not how
sorry,
a year works.
Continue wrapping it up.
No, we'll be good. We'll get out of here. We'll see you in 2 weeks time. Until then, take care.